How is everybody doing? We're going to take a look at Tubular Bells 2003. 2003? What year is this? 2003. Yes, you're not seeing things on vinyl. It's just come out. Yeah, very, very nice. Warner Brothers. This was the kind of re-recording that Mike did back in 2003, and 2003 was the 30th anniversary of the original. Mike was signed to Warner Brothers back then. So here we have it now. When it came out, originally I was never really too bothered with it. I had a CD. There was also a 3-disc set with Tubular Bells Tubular Bells 2 and 3. And kind of a DVD of excerpts and stuff like that. But yeah, what happened was he was a little bit unhappy with the original and wanted to record it with modern technology, and he did. And yeah, it's a bit, I thought it was a bit sterile at the start when I heard it, all that 22 years ago, but some people like it. What it does actually do is it highlights a lot of the passages, because the original is quite muddy, emotional, and it's kind of got blood, sweat and tears going through the whole thing. Would have been a hard album to record, and he was so young at the time. It was the first Virgin Records release as well. But here we have a new pressing, and that is lovely, beautiful. There is a mistake. When I put on side 1, I could hear the harmonics, and that was side 2. So the labels are back to front. Yeah, so unfortunately, that's a little error, but I'm gonna, I don't really care about things like that. It doesn't really matter. Both labels are pretty identical apart from the sides. This is quite funny. It names out all the guitars he plays on it, all the gear, pianos and keyboards, percussion. And this is quite funny here. Computer hardware and software. Apple Mac Mirror G4, 1000 megahertz dual processor, 1.25 gigabytes of RAM, OS 9.4, Magic Logic Audio Platinum 5.30, DigiDesign Pro Tools 5.31. A few soft sense and stuff as well. Produced by Mike Oldfield, engineer and recording assistant Ben Darlow. Special guest John Cleese. He's the master of ceremony, naming out all the instruments that the original is famous for. Yeah, it's very nice. I played it last night. I really liked it. It's a lot warmer than the CD. The bass is quite deep and stuff like that. It's well recorded, I must say. It sounds lovely. And I was kind of excited to hear it. Now it's kind of a little bit closer to the sound that you expect from Mike. The kind of 70s analog sound. Obviously this was a complete re-recording for the sake of it, and the original album has just 2 sides, part 1, part 2. Here the actual tunes are all each movement is kind of broken up. Side 1 is 11 tracks, and side 2 has got 6, and very nicely done. Yeah, I like it. I think it's great addition to the collection as well. Very, very nice. Yeah, so there you go, that's it. Everybody is going to want to run out and grab a copy, I guess, for all the fans. On the back it says Warner Music Spain 2024. So I'm not sure what's going on here. It seems to have just came out. Manufactured in Germany. Yeah. So there you go. Sounds great though. Very there's no crackle or anything like that. Very low noise in the background. And At least as well, you get an inner sleeve. A lot of the Warner's reissues have nothing. No track listings or anything on the inside, or information, sorry. Yeah, Distant Earth, Voyager, Tubular Bells 3 had nothing. And guitars and the Millennium Bell had a kind of color insert and stuff like that. But yeah, this is nice. I'm pretty happy with it. It's a nice collection piece. Yeah, very nice to get it. Right, so really, if you think about it, like, what purpose does this serve? Like I said, it highlights some of the stuff that's kind of hidden. I really enjoyed the Piltdown, man. Really enjoyed it. Like, it's much clearer, obviously this drum machine's been used. Another thing as well is that the introduction, the bass on it is actually a synth bass, and it sounds very kind of liquid. It sounds like something you'd hear on, kind of a funky, kind of electronic funk album from the early 80s, like Earth, Wind and Fire, It's got a kind of a, it's quite, it sounds quite funky. Maybe he just did it as a joke. But what I will say about this is it's a nice companion piece to Tubular Bells 2, which came out in 1992. Put it this way, in 1990, Mike released Amarok, which was a single instrumental piece. And it sounds fantastic as well. It is a great piece of work for the time, because he was just in the late 80s doing a lot of songs and shorter compositions. But if he had never released Amarok and he never released Tubular Bells, say he never did it, I'm just saying in a parallel universe. If this came out in 1990, right, it would technically be, with the recording techniques like that he used on, if he recorded this like instead of Amarok, it would be, he recorded Amarok into a digital tape machine, a Sony PCM dash recorder, 48 track. It's bizarre. If he recorded that into that, it would sound like Amarok, which, would be quite, pristine and, sounds fantastic. And then this would have come out 2 years later. So, it's just to throw that out there. I thought it's kind of funny. So it makes a nice companion piece. I mean, Tubular Bells 2, again, is familiar sounding, but they're definitely, variations on the theme, but it has its own charm completely. Goes into Americana a little bit, especially on The Great Plain, and obviously Moonshine, which goes away from the folk and European elements. And then, of course, you've got Tubular Bells 3, which is really like pretty dance orientated. It's a bit up and down, like, you've got things like Outcast, which I love, but it's like the Piltdown Man in the Rain. That's a song. I've made other videos about all these albums anyway. But yeah, it's definitely, it's definitely worth having a look at, you know what I mean? Like I said, yeah, they did a good job in the artwork, in fairness, like, as most album covers are blown up, but this is quite good, it retains a nice bit of clarity. Obviously, there's a little bit more pixelated here when they blew it up. That seems to happen a lot these days. But yeah, it's done nicely. I mean, there isn't an awful lot of difference, It's just the colors are good, you know what I mean? I didn't realize that there was actually birds on this, but they're quite blurred in the background. But here they're more obviously Photoshop. There you go. So that's it, really. I think the next release by Mike will be Hargis Ridge, the 50th anniversary. That's coming out next month and a few weeks' time. But again, Hargis Ridge was released in 1974, so they're about a year late. So it's the 51st anniversary. What you'll get this time is a double. You're going to get the 1973 mix, and you're also, 1974 mix, and you're also going to get the 2010 remix that Mike did himself. That was only issued on the deluxe editions. It has a new cover, but it's never made it to vinyl, because the vinyl edition was the actual 1973 mix. My favourite Hargis Ridge actually is the boxed mix, and that was done in 76, and that was all the CD issues since Compact Disc came out in the the mid-80s Mike's catalogue was released. So the original 1974 Hercus Ridge is actually on the deluxe edition, believe it or not. All the standalone CD versions are the 2010. Anyway, it gets, mind-boggling. But, Tubular Bells, 2003. It sounds nicer on vinyl, I will say. It has its own charm. The bass is a bit deeper. And it just, I can't wait to hear it again. I'm going to crank it up more. There's a few extra little things put in as well. It's just nice. He does extra things. It's very well done. I mean, he's a genius, really. So anyway, that's it. There's not much more to say about it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe and take care.